Ruyi Jinggu Bang Long. Before it became the icon of Chinese cinema, the Ruyi Jinggu Bang was never intended to be a weapon. Originally forged by Lao Tzu and used by Da Yu around 2100 BCE to measure the depths of the world's great floods, this 17,500-pound pillar of black iron served as a geological anchor to stabilize the seas. When Sun Wukong descended into the underwater treasury of the Dragon King in the 16th century masterpiece Journey to the West, he didn't find a sword. He found a cosmic ruler. The staff's true name, the compliant golden-hooped rod, reveals its most terrifying attribute. It is psychologically bound to its master. It obeys the mind, not the hand. At a mere whisper, it shrinks to the size of a sewing needle hidden behind the ear, or expands until it punctures the celestial firmament, weighing exactly 13,500 catties, $8,100 per kilogram. The wow factor lies in its density. Despite its immense weight, Wukong wields it with the speed of a hummingbird's wing, creating a kinetic force that can shatter mountain ranges. It is said that when the staff was removed from the ocean floor, the very tides of the earth shook, as if a piece of the planet's skeletal structure had been ripped away. For an American audience raised on the physics of Thor's hammer, the Jinggu Bang offers something deeper. A weapon that isn't just heavy, but one that defies the very laws of spatial geometry. Kusanagi no Tsurugi. While many legendary swords are forged in fire, the Kusanagi no Tsurugi was discovered in the blood of a monster. Unearthed from the fourth tail of the eight-headed serpent, Yamata no Orochi. By the storm god Susanoo, this relic represents the pinnacle of Japanese imperial regalia. Its original name, Ame no Yurakumo no Tsurugi, Sword of the Gathering Clouds of Heaven, hints at its terrifying meteorological power. The true overpowered nature of this blade isn't just its edge, but its ability to rewrite the battlefield's environment. During a critical ambush in 110 BCE, the Prince Yamato Takeru was trapped in a burning grassland. By swinging the blade, he discovered it could command the wind itself, shifting the entire trajectory of a massive firestorm back toward his enemies. This isn't just a sword, it's a weather control device. It manipulates the atmosphere to create vacuum pockets and localized typhoons, making it impossible for any projectile to reach the wielder. For a modern audience, Kusanagi is the ultimate defensive and offensive hybrid, a weapon that transforms a simple gust of air into a lethal, invisible guillotine. To this day, the blade remains hidden in the Atsuta Shrine, shielded from public eyes for over 1,900 years, fueling the mystery of its true celestial form. The Vajra. In the divine hierarchy of ancient India, the Vajra stands as the absolute monarch of the arsenal. Originating from the Vedic traditions around 1500 BCE, it is the signature weapon of Indra, the king of Devas. The Sanskrit term Vajra carries a dual meaning: thunderbolt and diamond. This linguistic fusion perfectly describes its physical properties, possessing the unstoppable energy of a lightning strike combined with the unbreakable molecular density of a diamond. The weapon's origin is as grim as it is fascinating, forged from the spine of the sage Dadhichi, whose bones became diamond-hard through centuries of spiritual penance. Unlike a standard mace, the Vajra functions as a cosmic capacitor. It doesn't just strike a target, it vaporizes its atomic structure entirely. When Indra unleashed the Vajra against the primordial serpent Vritra, the weapon shattered the very concept of resistance, releasing the world's stolen waters. It is the ultimate symbol of indestructibility, a weapon that cannot be chipped, melted, or outmatched. With its distinctive ribbed prongs and central sphere, the Vajra remains one of the most visually striking weapons in history, representing a force that remains firm even when the universe itself collapses. The banana fan. Among the blades and spears of legend, the banana fan, Ba Jiao Shan, stands as a testament to the terrifying power of nature's gentlest tool. Born from the spiritual essence of Mount Kunlun since the beginning of the universe, this relic is most famously wielded by the Princess Iron Fan in the 16th century epic Journey to the West. Unlike weapons that rely on jagged edges or brute impact, the fan operates on the principles of ethereal displacement. It possesses the unique ability to manipulate thermal energy and spatial distance with a single flick. The fan's most staggering feat is its capacity to extinguish the flaming mountains, a 500-mile stretch of eternal celestial fire that no water on Earth could quench. One wave of the fan creates a gust so potent it can hurl an opponent 84,000 li, roughly 26,000 miles, through the sky, effectively removing them from the battlefield without shedding a drop of blood. It acts as a macroscopic air pressure regulator, capable of inducing torrential rains or summoning hurricanes. For a modern audience, the banana fan represents an overpowered utility, a weapon of mass displacement that proves true victory often comes from controlling the environment rather than destroying the enemy. Ame no Nuhoko. Shifting the narrative from destruction to divine craftsmanship, the Ame no Nuhoko, jeweled spear of heaven, occupies a singular place in Shinto mythology. This isn't a weapon of war. It is a tool of terrestrial engineering. Handed to the creator deities Izanagi and Izanami by the first heavenly gods, this spear was the instrument used to manifest the Japanese archipelago from the formless, chaotic brine of the primordial world. The mechanics of its power are mesmerizing. Standing upon the floating bridge of heaven, the deities dipped the spear into the ocean and stirred the void. As the spear was withdrawn, the salt water dripping from its tip coagulated to form Onogoro, the first solid landmass of the world. This concept of solidifying the fluid represents an absolute authority over the physical states of matter. While other spears in this list pierce flesh, Ame no Nuhoko pierces the vacuum of non-existence to create reality itself. It offers a profound wow moment, the realization that the very ground we walk on was once just a droplet of brine on the edge of a celestial blade. It is the ultimate creative force, turning the ocean into a canvas and the spear into a brush that painted an entire civilization into being. Sharur, deep within the sands of ancient Mesopotamia, long before the rise of modern automation, existed Sharur, the smasher of thousands. This enchanted mace, belonging to the god Ninurta, is perhaps history's first recorded instance of an autonomous, sentient weapon system. It does not merely wait for a command. It speaks, reasons, and hunts. Sharur functions as a sophisticated drone with a soul, capable of flying across the world to gather intelligence for its master. The weapon's intelligence is its primary lethal edge. During the conflict with the monstrous demon Asag, Sharur didn't just act as a blunt instrument. It provided strategic counsel, calming the god's fears and identifying the enemy's hidden weaknesses. In battle, it can transform into a winged lion or a fire-breathing guardian, unleashing torrents of celestial flame and poisonous winds to decimate entire legions of supernatural foes. This sentient mace blurs the line between a tool and a companion. Sharur represents a level of overpowered sophistication where the weapon knows how to win the war better than the warrior himself. Does the idea of a thinking, talking weapon from 4,000 years ago fascinate you? Or does it feel a bit too close to modern AI? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Sudarshana Chakra. If ancient mythology possessed a precision-guided interceptor, it would be the Sudarshana Chakra. Belonging to Lord Vishnu, the preserver of the universe, This spinning disk was forged from the incandescent stardust of the sun. Unlike a standard projectile, the chakra is a sentient entity controlled by pure intent, featuring 108 serrated edges designed for absolute anatomical precision. The weapon's pursuit logic is where reality begins to blur. It does not simply fly, it navigates through the folds of time and space to find its mark. Once released, the chakra locks onto the target's life force, making evasion mathematically impossible, regardless of distance or speed. It can sever the head of a titan and return to Vishnu's finger in a heartbeat, never losing its momentum or its lethal, golden shine. It is the ultimate killer drone of the Vedic era, a weapon representing the triumph of cosmic order over chaos. For a modern audience, the Sudarshana chakra serves as a haunting reminder that the concept of a smart weapon was a terrifying reality in the minds of the ancients over 3,000 years ago. Totsuka no Tsurugi. In the Japanese Shinto tradition, the Totsuka no Tsurugi, Sword of 10 Fists, introduces a chilling shift from physical trauma to spiritual imprisonment. Famously wielded by the storm god Susanoo, this blade is not measured by the depth of its cut, but by the destination of the victim's soul. It is a tool of total containment, specifically designed for deities too powerful to be slain by conventional means. While most legendary blades spill blood, the Totsuka no Tsurugi spills the target's consciousness into a permanent, metaphysical void. Its most staggering feat was sealing the fiery spirit of the eight-headed serpent Yamata no Orochi into a realm of drunken, eternal dreams from which there is no awakening. This represents the pinnacle of overpowered psychological warfare. The weapon doesn't end your life, it removes you from existence. The victim remains trapped in a blissful, drunken stupor within the blade's spiritual dimension for all eternity, unable to reincarnate. It acts as a divine prison cell, a concept that feels strikingly modern to anyone familiar with digital simulations. In the realm of Asian mythology, this sword proves that a peaceful-looking victory, an eternal sleep, is often the most terrifying fate of all. Pashupatastra. At the absolute apex of cosmic escalation lies the Pashupatastra, the personal arsenal of Lord Shiva. This is not a physical tool one carries into battle. It is an elemental force of nature, summoned from the void. According to the Mahabharata, its power is so volatile that using it against a lesser foe could trigger a chain reaction capable of incinerating the entire universe and every living soul within it. What defines the Pashupatastra's overpowered status is its terrifyingly simple launch mechanism. It can be discharged through a focused thought, a whispered word, or a mere glance from the wielder. Once the user targets an enemy, the weapon releases a flood of supernatural projectiles that adapt and evolve to neutralize any defense, whether the target is a mortal king or a primordial god. It is a weapon of absolute sovereignty that renders the laws of physics obsolete. Because it belongs to the god of destruction, the Pashupatastra serves as the reset button for all of existence. To face its power is to witness the collapse of time itself. For history enthusiasts, this weapon represents the ultimate limit of ancient imagination, a point where the human mind becomes the most destructive force in the cosmos. The Brahmastra. The Brahmastra is more than a weapon. It is a celestial nightmare. Created by Lord Brahma, this weapon represents the first conceptualized weapon of mass destruction, appearing in Vedic texts dating back over 3,500 years. It is not a blade, but a concentrated blast of cosmic fire summoned through a secret mantra vibrating at a specific divine frequency. Once invoked, no shielding, divine or mortal, can withstand its impact. The environmental fallout is what truly sets this weapon apart. A single strike from the Brahmastra incinerates the target with the brightness of 1,000 suns, but the horror continues as rainfall ceases for 12 consecutive years, and the soil's pH levels shift so drastically that no life can grow for generations. It mimics the radioactive aftermath of modern warfare with disturbing accuracy, affecting the genetic lineage of survivors for 7 to 10 decades. It is a weapon of last resort, so volatile that it can only be neutralized by another Brahmastra. For an audience fascinated by forbidden technology, it is evidence that the ancients feared the very same apocalyptic forces we do today, long before the first modern laboratory was built. The Narayanastra. In the grand arsenal of Lord Vishnu, the Narayanastra stands as the ultimate tactical paradox. Unlike other weapons that can be dodged, this celestial volley launches millions of projectiles simultaneously, ignoring all traditional defenses. Once triggered, it fills the sky with a relentless storm of fire and divine energy, automatically tracking anyone who displays even a micro-expression of defiance or military intent. The unique overpowered mechanic of the Narayanastra is that it feeds on resistance. The more an army struggles, the more the weapon multiplies its lethality. Any attempt to use a counterweapon causes the missiles to hit with 10 times the original force. It creates a battlefield where bravery is a mathematical death sentence. There is only one way to survive. The soldiers must drop their weapons, dismount their chariots, and surrender their egos entirely. It is a weapon that conquers through the total annihilation of the will rather than the body. This creates a fascinating realization. The most powerful weapon in the universe doesn't demand your blood. It demands your absolute, unconditional submission, turning a massive army of 100,000 soldiers into a field of kneeling survivors in mere seconds. It is the ultimate checkmate in the history of divine warfare. The Pangu Axe. To conclude our journey, we look back to the dawn of time with the Pangu Axe. In Chinese cosmogony, before the stars existed, there was only a chaotic, egg-shaped void. Inside this darkness grew Pangu, a giant who spent 18,000 years gathering the strength to wield a massive, primordial axe. This tool didn't just break matter, it cleaved the abstract concept of nothingness into the dualities of our physical reality. This axe represents the ultimate macro-scale power. With a single, cosmic swing, Pangu split the primordial chaos. The light elements rose 30,000 feet to become the heavens, while the heavy parts sank to form the earth. The sheer force required to separate the fundamental forces of the universe makes every other weapon on this list seem like a mere toy. While a sword can destroy a city, the Pangu axe created the very space where those cities exist. It is the beginning and the end of all power, the tool that gave birth to reality itself. Ending here reminds us that in Asian mythology, the most overpowered weapon isn't one that kills, but one that creates the world by carving it out of chaos. Thank you for joining me on this legendary tour of the heavens. If you enjoyed discovering these divine relics, don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into ancient history.